The 2026 World Cup hosted a staggering mismatch. Spain, ranked number 2 in the world and loaded with elite talent, was drawn against the tiny island nation of Cape Verde, ranked 67th. Cape Verde was making their first ever World Cup appearance. Their fans flooded the stadium, hoping for a miracle against a team that routinely dismantled lesser opponents. In goal for that debut was Josimar Dias, better known as Vozinha. He was 40 years old, and his contract with a second-tier Portuguese club was days away from expiring. A journeyman goalkeeper at the end of his career was staring down a roster of world-class forwards on the sport's biggest stage. The odds heavily pointed to a brutal, lopsided finale to his playing days. But the slaughter never came. Vozinha held the line, and the match ended in a 0-0 draw. This graphic tracks Spain's offense. You can see 7 distinct shots on target from elite strikers, and every single one is intercepted right at the goal line. Vozinha stopped them all. That brick wall performance earned him the official Player of the Match award. Curious, how does a player who spent 15 years completely outside the top European leagues develop the reflexes and composure to shut out a global superpower? Vozinha grew up here, in the port city as Mindelo, Cape Verde. He began his professional path far from the multi-million-dollar training complexes of mainland Europe. This map traces his club career over the next 15 years. From local teams in Cape Verde, he jumped to Angola, then to Moldova, the Portuguese second division, Cyprus, and Slovakia. He bypassed the top 5 European leagues entirely. He spent a full 5 years grinding away in the Cypriot first division. He was playing solid professional football, but it was far outside the global spotlight. Bouncing through lower-tier leagues required immense adaptability. It was a 15-year stress test in unfamiliar environments, forcing him to adapt to new cultures, new defenses, and relentless pressure without the safety net of top-tier resources. While his club career was nomadic, his role on the Cape Verde national team was absolute. He anchored their defense for 14 straight years. He was the man in goal when Cape Verde successfully qualified for their first ever major tournament, the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations. But international play also brought brutal setbacks. In the 2013 quarterfinals against Ghana, he pushed up the pitch for a late corner kick and was caught totally out of position, allowing the final goal that knocked his country out of the tournament. Recovering from a devastating public error like that builds a specific kind of armor. Returning to play in 4 total AFCON tournaments meant that by the time he faced Spain in 2026, he had already survived the worst international football could throw at him. This bell curve represents a standard athletic prime, peaking in the late 20s and dropping off sharply. Vozinha's 2026 World Cup performance is plotted right here, standing as a massive anomaly at age 40. He broke multiple records that day. He became the oldest player ever to feature in a nation's World Cup debut, and the 9th oldest player to take the pitch in the history of the tournament. Look at the data from those 7 stops against Spain. He now holds the record for the 2nd most saves by a goalkeeper over 40 in any World Cup match. A clean sheet against the number 2 team in the world requires flawless reflexes and split-second decision-making. Defending the net at that level meant Vozinha actively defied the biological limits expected of a 40-year-old athlete. Immediately after the final whistle, his story exploded online. Brazilian broadcaster Cazé TV highlighted his performance, sparking a massive digital wave. Fans launched a campaign to push his Instagram account to 1 million followers. They completely overshot it, driving his count from 53,000 to over 8.1 million in a matter of hours. Millions of people tuned in to celebrate a player who spent 15 years quietly putting in the work, where the cameras weren't watching. Vozinha proved that athletic mastery doesn't require a straight path to the top leagues. Sometimes, 15 years laboring in the shadows is exactly the warm-up required for 90 minutes of absolute perfection on the world's biggest stage.